Good evening. I'd like to call the special meeting of the Town Council to order. Today is Wednesday, May 14th, and I will lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Sue, will you call the roll?
Mayor Lesser,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Forrest,
Here.
Councilor Bailey,
Here.
Councilor Carbone,
Here.
Councilor Clancy,
Here.
Councilor Durick,
Here.
Councilor Rhodes, Councilor Timbrow, Councilor Zambrello.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to adopt the budget for fiscal year 25-26. We have a number of motions that we'll go through one by one, vote on them one by one. And I will start, and I'll ask for a motion. Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion number one, that in accordance with the provisions and methodology of Section 12-62C, subsection B1 of the general statutes, that the assessor be directed to gradually phase in the assessment increase resulting from the 2024 revaluation over a period of 4 years, beginning with the October 1st, 2024 assessment year and continuing through the assessment year that begins on October 1st, 2027.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, I think I heard Councilor Durick first. Discussion, Mr. Town Manager or Finance Director, do you want to give a little explanation? So we are voting number one here of whether to phase in the revaluation over 4 years, and this is a significant part of the budget deliberations tonight, budget decisions tonight. So,
Thank you, Mayor. As you all heard, the proposal is to phase this in over 4 years. That's the maximum that we can do as we are due for a new reval in 4 years. What this does is it allows that the assessment for real estate only, all properties, their assessment will, their increase and or decrease would be adjusted by a quarter each year. So the first year we'll have 1/4 of the change. The second year would be 50% of the change. The third year would be 75% of the change. And then the fourth year, it would be complete. Am I correct in that? Based upon that, it's not going to be that your taxes will decrease by a quarter if you saw a large increase necessarily. It's a more complicated equation than that, as the phase-in does not impact personal property and it does not impact automobiles. So it's just for real estate only. And the result of that, by reducing the assessment by 75% in year one, we actually have to then lift the mill rate back up again to account for the difference for the money that's needed for the budget as proposed. So it's not a straight decrease in your taxes by that percentage, but we did do the analysis on all the properties, and several properties that were most impacted by the revaluation will see a significant phase-in, a significant drop in years 1, 2, and 3. So that was the goal of this. But again, if the math is difficult, don't be. We'd be happy to explain it further to you and look at your property individually if anybody needs an explanation. But that's the intent of this, is to reduce the impact for those most affected by the revaluation. It's something that other towns have done. It's something that recently, because of the way the property values have been here in Connecticut, and it's something that the statute gives us the authority to do.
thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Any comments or questions before we take a vote on number one? Okay, all those in favor of number one, item one, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Sue, do you have the, okay. Passes. Do I have a motion on the second item? Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. That the budget as submitted by the town manager on April 7th, 2025 be and hereby is amended as follows. An increase of $2,050,000 to account for 9002 appropriated fund balance. A decrease of $6,472 to account 180 capital and strategic initiatives. Excuse me, I had a hiccup there. to increase $27,446 to line 300, Economic and Community Development, to decrease $97,229 to line 410, Building Inspections, to increase $169,396 to line 510, Engineering, to increase $67,552 to line 620, Social, Youth, and Elderly Services, to decrease $100,525 to line 800, Parks and Recreation, to decrease $422,050 to line 950 to transfers CIP/CNEF.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Zambrello. Any discussion before the vote? Counselor Carbone.
I do. So, since this has just literally come before me a few minutes ago, and I know you sent it to me a little earlier, I just want to get it on the record, but I was working and I haven't seen it. So this transfer, the CIP/CNEF transfer, again, I just find this very confusing, the whole increase, decrease. So that's $422,050 going into the CIP/CNEF, coming out of. Okay. And then you had discussed using some ARPA funds before. As none of that is mentioned here, so would it be mentioned on this part or no?
Any use of the capital reserve would not be part of the budget vote. It would be a future vote of this body.
Okay.
But the amounts were $1 million each was
Yes.
in the budget. We lowered that with anticipation of potentially using some of the former ARPA funds, capital reserve projects. I think you and I have talked a little bit about that. as
Yes,
well.
so you reduced it by only $400,000. So $200,000 to each fund,
Not exactly that, but you're,
about that.
yeah.
Okay. And then,
Oh, sorry.
yes, I do, sorry. Again, so the Park and Recs Department, was that taking out a position? The $100,000?
That's, I think,
Yeah, so as part of what was proposed is that there would be a freeze in hiring one of the vacant positions, which is the office manager for Parks and Rec.
Same thing. Oh, but, so we're hiring somebody in engineering,
Correct.
building inspections.
Now, the engineering is for
we're hiring an engineer
hiring an engineer, senior engineer,
and decreasing.
and a
the building.
decrease in building inspection. The position that I propose, which was the basically the project administrator that would go out and help move things along, that was reduced to a half-time position
Okay.
without benefits.
Awesome, thank you. All right, thank you. So I guess thank you for answering my questions. I just appreciate that y'all didn't just give the ask, which I think is great, but I just think you could have done a little bit more to offset some of the costs this year, going into with the reevaluation and the referendum coming up. I think if we showed a little bit more fiscal responsibility, I mean, we were only asking people for 12 months to just rein it in a little bit so we could get the next phase of our town going. I just think it wasn't enough for me, but thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Counselor Carbone. Any other questions or comments? We're on item 2. If we don't have any on this item, I will call the vote. Everybody in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Sue, do you have the vote? Thank you. Item number 3, do I have a motion? Mr. Deputy Mayor, please.
That the town council adopt the town budget as submitted by the town manager on April 7th, 2025, and as amended by the town council in the sum of $61,542,007
Do I have a second?
for the fiscal
Oh,
year
sorry.
beginning July 1st, 2025, so we don't put it in the wrong fiscal year.
My apologies. Do we have a second? Second by Counselor Clancy. Discussion on the motion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Sue? Good? Okay. Item 4, do I have a motion? Deputy Mayor.
That the budget as submitted by the town manager on April 7th, 2020.
Number 4.
That the total appropriations for the library purposes be set at $2,196,689 for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025, so we don't put it in the wrong fiscal year.
Do I have a second? Second. Second by Counselor Dirk. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Do you have that one? Different? Okay. So unanimous. Now it's the library number 4, number 5. Do I have a motion? Mr. Deputy Mayor.
That the budget as submitted by the town manager on April 7th, 2025 be and hereby is amended as follows: to decrease the request for school purposes by $685,000.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Dirk. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Sue? Good, yep, okay. Item 6, do I have a motion, Mr. Deputy Mayor?
That the total appropriation for school purposes be set at $67,468,339 for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Dirk. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Yes? Okay. Item 7, do I have a motion, Mr. Deputy Mayor?
That the total appropriation for the capital and non-recurring road fund be set at $2,400,000 for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Counselor Zambrello. Discussion on the motion.
I have a question.
Counselor Carbone.
Again, an apology, but it was $2.1 million last year, is that correct? And it was the ask was $800,000?
Increase.
And now, so we've increased it by 300,000, and just, I'm sorry, I wish I had all my stuff, but I came from work. But aren't you impressed I remembered that, right? Like,
Yeah.
but I do see it, and I remember seeing also in a lot of line item budgets too, and we are getting grants and funds, aren't we, for all of this stuff? Okay, I just wanted to double check, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Carbone. Any other questions on item 7, the road fund? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Sue? Good. Item number 8, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
That the total amount to be raised by taxes for town, library, school, and capital and non-recurring road fund purposes combined be set at $105,365,967 for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Counselor Dirk. Discussion on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Yes. Okay, item number 9. Do I have a motion? Mr. Deputy Mayor.
That the general fund tax rate on all real and personal taxable property excluding motor vehicles be set at 40.56 mils for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Counselor Clancy. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, hearing none, let's call the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Good. Okay, item number 10. Deputy Mayor.
That the general fund tax rate on all motor vehicle taxable property be set at 31.94 mils for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Counselor Zambrello. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. You have it? Okay. Item number 11. Do I have a motion? Mr. Deputy Mayor.
That the capital and non-recurring roads fund tax rate on all real and personal taxable property excluding motor vehicles be set at 0.66 mils for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Derrick. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Item 12, and this is our last item. Do I have a motion? Mr. Deputy Mayor.
That the capital and non-recurring roads fund tax rate on all motor vehicle taxable property be set at 0.52 mils for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Counselor Zambrello. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so we have a budget. Thank you, everybody. Now I will entertain any comments, and we do have some written ones that I will read from Jane in a little bit, and I also have some comments I want to make, but I open the floor. Any counselor want to make any comments? Counselor Bailey.
I'll be brief.
I appreciate all the work you guys did on this, I really do, we do. I think it could have gone a little deeper, and our goal on this side of the table was anybody who lives in Wethersfield and wants to stay here to be able to afford it. And I think we're just going down the wrong road with these increases, and that's the no votes. But, understood.
Thank you, Counselor Bailey. Further council comment? Counselor Zambrello.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for everyone's comments tonight. I really appreciate all the work that went into this from everyone up here. There were many hours and much deliberation over how to accomplish exactly what Counselor Bailey just said, making sure that this town is still affordable to live in for the people who want to stay here and that we continue attracting new residents. And it's very difficult to strike a balance in that when we are dealing with the revaluation that we're dealing with, which is why I was very happy to learn about this option that we approved in motion 1 here to phase in this increase over 4 years. It may be confusing for people. We may not get as much support on it as maybe we would hope, but we know that we're doing the right thing in phasing this in. The mill rate won't go down as dramatically as it would have if we had brought it in all at once, but folks' taxes will go up much more slowly than they would have had we not done this. So a lot of people will save quite a lot of money over the next few years, and I think I'm very happy that we've taken that option. I don't believe it's something the town has done before. We've also never been in a position with the revaluation like this before, so it was the right move to make that decision. I also appreciate that we found some savings in certain positions. We used the fund balance as much as we could. We found different ways to fund capital expenses since we have some extra money there to keep the budget impact smaller. And I also appreciate the new engineering position. We heard from the engineer and from our Director of Capital and Strategic Initiatives that our ability to get grants is being impacted by our ability to get that work done. So I believe certain things you need to spend money to make money, and this is one of those instances where investing in another engineer gives us the ability to continue getting grants and continue getting money for projects in town so that we can save a lot of money down the road. So that's all I'll say on that, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Counselor Zambrello. Further council comments? Counselor Carbone.
Thank you. I, like Counselor Bailey, really do understand how much work it takes to do what you did, and as much as I appreciate that, I know it's long hours and hair pulling and staring at numbers all day long, but I really do think this year was the one year we really need to rein in the spending, especially because I think every single one of us on this dais up here wants the referendum to pass. New positions, I didn't think it was the time to add new positions. I'm going to be honest and put the reasons why I said no. I think we could have held off for 12 months, like I said. And again, even talking about ARPA-funded positions that were not necessarily, that were necessary, but not necessarily supposed to continue after ARPA funds, are probably being funded through this. Again, I think we could have reevaluated a little bit differently this year. Also, speaking of ARPA funds, using that to kind of pay down this is helpful. Like you said, I know you're going to look at some of that. I think it could have been more. And as far as the phase-in is concerned, I'm definitely not opposed to a phase-in. I just think dragging it out for 4 years for people is a little bit long, because what happens year 5? We have another reassessment. And every year, and it wasn't mentioned, so not only will you get the increase from this year, the phase-in, but you will get a definite increase from next year's budget. And then if we get the referendum, it's another double whammy. So I think we could have done a little bit more to manage our costs, and we could have dug a little bit deeper. I really do appreciate the thought of getting another engineer so we can keep moving on some new projects. However, and again, Vlada's position, she's saving us a ton of money by getting grants, but we still have to pay percentages of those grants. So, whatever we're paying, we're still shelling out potentially millions of dollars for these projects, granted less than what we would have, but maybe, again, what we are faced with this year I don't think was the year for that. I would have been fine with a smaller phase-in. And then even the increases, and this is something I mentioned during our deliberations, I completely understand and want our employees in town to be compensated appropriately, I think it's just fair to do that. Unfortunately, do I think this was the year to give some people $35,000 increases? Absolutely not. I think that maybe could have been phased in a little bit differently as well.
You did.
You did? Okay. You did phase in the,
I'll wait till it's, you're, I mean,
okay, no,
if you
I'm
want to
asking.
ask me,
No,
I will.
I'm totally open
Yeah.
book. Go ahead.
Thank you, Councilor Carbone. We decreased the salary line to 2.75 for all those positions. Raise
Okay.
of 2
And what was it prior to that?
Some of them were dramatic, as you were saying, and we
Yeah.
flatlined it,
You flatline the salary increase.
2.75.
Okay, and then is that a step increase, so it'll go higher next year?
Evaluate it next year. Yeah.
Because if you have somebody going $35,000 increase, obviously.
No, they're not.
We didn't do
Those
that.
were those were taken out.
We took all
Okay.
those out.
Good, all right, well, scratch that.
Now you can vote yes.
Oh, okay, awesome.
You still have the floor, though, Councilor
Yeah,
Carbone.
no, I'm good.
You
I'm
good?
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilor Carbone. Further, Councilor Dirk.
Thank you, Mayor. I agree with everything that's been said. I'm just going to add that I don't think anybody is happy with this budget. I know we drove town manager crazy. If I had an option, I would have froze 20 positions, but we did not have an option to do that. And everything that we could, we did freeze those positions. No matter what we do, this one is going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot for all of us. But looking as far as the numbers, the bottom line, the budget went up 3.76%. And it's roughly 3% contractual for all the salaries, all the unions, everything else, which means that we have done everything we can to be even below additional 1% increase on everything else they wanted to do. So being at 3.76, it's still 3.76, but I think that's awesome based on what we were dealing with. And I think we did everything we could to keep it down. But again, just because the reevaluation is going to hurt, and we're going to have to look into different ways to help offset those, but everything that was possible, we did pretty much. So it is what it is.
Thank you, Councilor Dirk. Further council comment? Seeing none, I'm going to read Jane's statement, and then I have a few comments, and then that may be the end of it. This is from Councilor Rhodes, who was unable to attend tonight. She sent in a statement. While I am unable to attend tonight's budget vote due to a work conflict, I would like to share my support of this budget. It was not easy to come to a decision on the final numbers. That being said, I believe this budget is lean and very appropriate, and one that's meeting most of the important needs of the town and providing some amount of relief to taxpayers with the phase-in of the new rates. I'm proud to have been part of the process, and I wish I was able to be there tonight to vote yes. That's from Councilor Rhodes. So I wanted to make a few comments. I think we may be at the end. First, I want to start, the most important place to start is say a bunch of thank yous. So first to the town manager and his staff, Assistant Town Manager Erica, Finance Director Mike O'Neill, to Joe Clerk and your team, Cheryl Pierce. I know a tremendous amount of work goes into doing the budget, and we are grateful for that. I also want to thank our counselors here. I know the amount of hours that you all put in on both sides of the aisle. I know I'm happy to put my budget books away in my office. I've been carting them around daily and I've read that budget so many times. But thank you to all the counselors. And I want to say to my folks on the other side of the aisle, I appreciate your input. I appreciate that we met and you guys gave us some ideas. We actually put a couple ideas of yours into the final plan, the final budget, and I appreciate your comments and understand your explanation why you didn't vote for it. So let me give you some reasons why I think we did the very best we could, and I'm proud of the effort that we put in, and I'm happy with the budget as best we could do, and let me tell you why. First, I find this budget is fiscally responsible. We did the 4-year phase-in, and we chose that phase-in of 4 years because it gives the most help to the most people. Simply put, that will give the most relief over the longest period of time to the most people, and that was a goal of ours. Secondly, we decreased the Board of Ed budget proposal from 4.95 to 3.9, significant decrease, and we look to the new superintendent to kind of evaluate things and show what his priorities were. We also, and Councilor Dirk mentioned this, but it's worth repeating. The school board budget went up 3.9. The town budget went up 3.24 for a total of 3.5, or 3.58 to be exact. And then when you add in the road fund, it's 3.76. So 3.5 to 3.76. We had insurance costs that went up 6%, and you heard Councilor Dirk talk about contractual salaries that went up in the 3% range. So we were as fiscally responsible with all of that. But when you do a budget, it's also important to have, in my view, targeted investments that move the town forward. A budget is a statement of our priorities, and priority one was to be fiscally responsible and to get as much out of the phase-in as we could, and to lower the budget where we felt it was, a fair budget. And fiscally responsible is goal number one. But another big goal is target investments. So let me talk about a couple of those. We invested in our infrastructure. We added to the road fund. We need to continue to improve our roads in town. We also hired an engineer. We are behind on the work. We have a great engineering department, but they need more help, and we thought that was a priority. It was mentioned up here about the 2 senior positions. We invested in those to help our seniors. Those 2 positions were funded through old ARPA funds. They were running out this budget. If we did not fund those, they're both help with programming. I've been reached out by many seniors about how important those positions are, and we felt it was important to invest in our seniors and our senior center. We invested in putting a part-time person in zoning. That department, in our view, needs some help. We put a part-time position. I hear from residents all the time about blight issues, and we sometimes don't have the ability to get to all the blight issues around town, and we put a resource in there. So I feel really good about the work that was done around this table and by folks in the town. I believe it's a responsible, fair budget that is fiscally responsible and invests in the needs of our town and keeps our town moving forward. So those are my comments. If no one else has any further or closing comments, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.